The sun beat down on the Roman legion as it marched. Dust rose from the marching feet of thousands of men. They had been traveling since dawn. The men were tired. They were ready to make camp. Finally, the order rang out, "Halt!" The legionnaires stopped. Relief washed over their faces. It was time to set up camp. The camp had to be in the right place. It needed to be easy to defend. Water had to be close by. The legion's surveyors knew what to do. They took out their tools. They used ropes and measuring poles. These expert planners carefully measured out a perfect rectangle on the ground. This marked the boundary of the new camp. The legionnaires sprang into action. They knew their jobs. Every man had a role to play. Some soldiers began unpacking tents. The tents were made of leather or thick cloth. They would keep the men dry. They would protect them from the sun and rain. The tents were set up in neat rows. Other soldiers tended to the horses. The horses were essential. They carried supplies and helped the cavalry in battle. They were fed and watered. They were tethered in a designated area. Some soldiers began preparing food. They lit fires for cooking. The smell of stew filled the air. The camp was a hive of activity, but there was also time for rest. The legionnaires were tough, but even they needed a break. Some men sat around chatting and telling jokes. Others played games like dice or knucklebones. These games were a good way to pass the time and relax. The food was simple but filling. The men ate from their mess tins. They drank watered-down wine. It was a chance to refuel and prepare for the next day's march. While most soldiers rested, some had other duties. Small groups of scouts went out to find food. They carried swords and shields. Danger was never far away. They searched the countryside. They looked for anything they could eat, wild boar, deer, or edible plants. Back at the camp, other soldiers worked on the camp's defenses. They dug a ditch around the perimeter. They piled the earth into a rampart. They sharpened wooden stakes. The stakes, called sipi, were hammered into the ground in front of the ditch. They were a deadly obstacle for any attacker. The camp was ready. The legion would sleep soundly, protected by its strong defenses.